Mila Falcha, Makarja, welcome back to the EU Masters. The final day of groups is upon us. We just came back off of the end of Karmine Corp. Pretty much smashing the team. Got to move forward next game and our next series, which has a lot more implications. It is going to be BTXL versus Schalke Null Fear Evolution, and I gotta say, like, right now for the NLC, like, it feels like London Bridge is falling down. This has not been a fun time to be an NLC fan throughout the last few times.
No, it's been a very steady decline coming through from the NLC group. You can see there, like 2019 summer, we had Fnatic Rising, it got to top 4. Then it kind of dropped a peg down to the top 8 in 2020 spring. 2020 summer was top 12. And now the only hope they have is BTXL, and it's really not looking so hot coming through for the NLC, what used to be a top-tier contender here in the EU Masters.
Yeah, they really are struggling. And yes, of course, we're saying London Bridge was the UKLC, and of course all the many different variations of the UK League now combining in with the Nordic Championships. But you can even see it here. This is highlights from the last time Schalke Null Fear played against BTXL. And again, they kind of slapped them. There was not really much that BTXL showed that was really positive from this particular game.
Yeah, and a huge amount of that came from Nuclearint on this rise in the mid lane. Like, he was able to get out, have access towards that top lane, and it's been kind of the stock standard play against BTXL now, which is put Orome in the dirt. Let's just keep camping this guy in the top lane. He'll be too far behind. And then when we get towards these team fights, we've just gotten a beefier front line, and we've got a fed mid laner who's been able to play off this. So I think, honestly, coming into this, I need to see Orome have a much stronger time in that top lane, and when BTXL have a better time for Orome topside, it then allows Markoon to play down towards this bottom side. It allows him to play through Deadly, and honestly, Deadly has had some of the best position of an AD carry in EU Masters, but the problem is you need a front line to be able to take advantage of that, and right now, that has been heavily lacking for BTXL.
Yeah, it honestly feels like you said, we want bigger and better things from the likes of Orome, from Markoon. These guys need to step up if they're going to be able to survive in this group. And don't get me wrong, this is not an easy group by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, like, this would be a pretty big misstep, or pretty big, step down, if you will, from the likes of, like we said, the top 4s, even the XL that made it to top 8 in the very first EU Masters back in 2018 spring. Like, this is very much a departure, and like you mentioned, Hatrixx, Orome, Deadly, these names are not the kind of names that should be getting knocked out at this stage.
And I was about to say, like Deadly, he got to second place with Vodafone Giants. Like, this is a guy who's been in the finals of EU Masters, and to not make it out of groups would be painful, not only for himself, but obviously the whole NLC region. But we'll have to see as we start to come into this what is going to be the story. And for me, it is going to be about this top lane. Yoppa has been a monster for Schalke Null Fear Evolution, and Orome has been hit or miss at best. So if I'm looking towards Schalke Null Fear, I'm going, right, we're taking the same game plan from last time. Let's go top, let's play our game up here, and just not let BTXL get off the ground.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's kind of the pretty easy call to make right now as we have a look at the bans. It's taking a little bit of time to get through them right now. Of course, you can see Renekton, the Tristana, and the Rel all banned away here. And this is a very, very important game. And the reason why this is so important is Schalke win, even if they lose the rest of the games. And in terms of a tiebreaker, they own the head-to-head against that BTXL. So they give themselves that extra little bit of advantage. It's not 1-1-1-1. They have a 2-0, which would give them that advantage towards the later half of the day, but they still have to win it before they can kind of come into it. And we're seeing that Jinx being banned away from Deadly. Like we mentioned, Deadly is someone who, if he's able to plant his feet, if he's able to find good positionings in these fights, he's able to get Jinx that, and they're able to take it off the board.
Yeah, I think when I'm looking towards this, the interesting thing is actually kind of like the top lane for me is obviously with like Orome not having access to that Renekton. It feels like that's something I'd actually have left open for Orome. The Volibear being banned away as well means that you're probably looking for an early jungle pick here, but we've got both the Hecarim and the Udyr open, so that Volibear ban is a little bit strange to me. It felt like BTXL probably should have gone towards the Udyr, because now Obsess can take the Udyr. You can look towards something in the bottom side of the map as well, maybe something like the Varus or the Kai'Sa that have been super high priority, or even some of these supports as well, like the likes of the Alistairs, the Leonas that have still been going super strong.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing a lot of emphasis now onto the Varus pick. It seems to be kind of the go-to, but something that has been also creeping up a little bit has been that Ashe, Tahm, Kench locked in here for BTXL for the bot lane.
I don't mind the Ashe pick into the Varus specifically because you've got that range advantage, because you've got only the 575 range on the Varus. It means that the volley can do a lot of work and you can constantly chase down the Varus as this Ashe, but I'm actually not the biggest fan of pairing it with the Tahm Kench in this situation. I still would have preferred to see something a bit more aggressive, because honestly when I look towards Schalke No Fear, they're very much going for this front to back style fight, especially when you pair it with an Udyr. So the fact you're taking this Tahm Kench means that you're already playing on the back foot with not a lot of huge amount of dive as of yet, but when we look towards at least the Rakan coming in, you can still get a little bit more dive if Yoppa wants to go towards something like the Gnar or something along these lines.
See what they want to go for the Rakan there, so a nice little bit of engage here for Schalke No Fear Evolution. They are now starting to pinch that mid lane pool just a little bit more. And again, Hatrixx, someone that we talked about a little bit, but he has been around for a pretty long time in terms of the EU Masters scene, in terms of the ERL scenes, you know, pretty much has played in almost every single league. I believe he was in LVP last year, you know, I believe at some point he was in the Prime League, so a lot of different experiences for him and all these different, you know, kind of setups. But we are seeing the mid lane pool being pinched away, and it is things like the Orianna, the Victor, the Ryze that are those big game changers as we come towards those kind of, you know, mid to late game team fights.
I'm curious to see what Schalke No Fear go for here, because I feel like something like a Seraphine would be so good for the composition. It unlocks Yoppa quite a lot in that top lane. You compares super well with the follow-up CC coming through from the Varus. It has this really nice team fight and certainly acts as a nice disengage tool, or at least a fight back tool when you look towards the engage option, which is going to be this Ashe coming through from Deadly in the bottom lane. So I'm curious to see if they do decide to go towards this on the next rotation. I'd like to see them at least keep that counter pick for Yoppa. We already talked about how good it could be to play through Orome on that top side for Schalke No Fear.
See now, the Darius band away. I do love this Darius band, even though it's like very, very clearly just like, this does well into this one champion, and I don't want to play against it. So it's just a very fun way to kind of like, you know, just take it off the board. And we'll see what Schalke now, what do they want to prioritize? Still yet to pick either of their solo lanes. They are going to go with the Nocturne, so still a bit of a flex. Can go mid, can go top.
Yeah, and actually works pretty well into the Scion as well, because you're able to just shove in that lane, and then you can go and roam and play through Nuclearint in this mid lane. So it looks like at least Schalke No Fear, like, look, you're probably going towards the Scion. You ban the Darius, it's pretty much teeing that up. But maybe we see a shift here coming through from BTXL, where they go, hey, look, you know what, we don't want to pick this Scion straight off the bat, we might go towards something else. Hatrixx does go back towards this Akali pick. He actually looked really, really good mechanically on it in their last game. I think the biggest issue with it was just the a little bit too much confidence, where he was diving towers and ended up dying to the likes of the Orianna, but certainly I think mechanically this guy is very good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the mechanics are definitely there. Just need to keep it a little bit in check, that's all. And then we see actually the Urgot being picked up here, so can be flex. Have seen the likes of, you know, Leader and, you know, and other people along those lines of kind of like, you know, flexing your mid laner up into that top side, giving a better matchup as such. So we'll see now where they want to try and put their solo laners. But now, what is your final pick here for you know, for the side of Schalke Evolution? Where would you like to see them take this final rotation? So
I actually wouldn't mind seeing them. Okay, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take it off. They're actually going to double down on this global comp. So this is something that we actually, funny enough, saw it ran in the LPL, and I loved it. I thought it was really, really cool. Orome ran it in our playoffs. It is so difficult to deal with because you've got this massive global pressure that can pretty much come out at any point in time. You can have, you know, your Twisted Fate play off on the map, try and follow up alongside the Nocturne. It's very easy to make these picks, and especially when you're looking at a composition for BTXL that is kind of trying to lend itself towards a pick, slight team fight style. This is something that you can look to isolate the likes of the backline like this Ashe, double down, get her out of the fight nice and quickly, and then you can try and win out the team fight in that way. Now, obviously the Tahm Kench going to work wonders against that, but certainly this is a very difficult comp to play against if you don't have good control of the map for BTXL.
Yeah, and someone we obviously highlighted was that kind of matchup into the top side, but like, you know, you look at Yoppa is just honestly like he has the highest damage percentage of any of the top laners right now in the planes, or sorry, in the EU Masters groups, 29.7%. So he's almost pretty much there. Highest kill participation as well. But then I look at the kill participation of Orome, 44.2%. He is not really with his team and not really setting themselves up for success. So you can see just the difference between these two guys is honestly night and day, and it feels very fitting considering we got a Nocturne in the game.
And I feel like, honestly, we're going to see the exact same story here. So, honestly, the way we've seen BTXL use this Tahm Kench in the bottom lane has actually been more as a dive tool around the level 3. And when we already kind of talked about, hey, Ashe has really good push pressure here against the Varus, and then you've got Markoon, who I assume is going to start on this top side path down towards the bottom lane. I'm looking at BTXL to go for these early dives and try and get the ball rolling in their court, because the biggest worry for BTXL is that they get to level 6 and they're even. Because then Nuclearint can get access to the map. Yoppa can look for roams down even towards the mid lane to facilitate alongside Obsess. It becomes really difficult as BTXL to keep control of the map. So the earlier they can get this game in BTXL's favor, the better it'll be for the NLC representative.
Let's talk about the stakes just a little bit as well. Like, Schalke 04 Evolution, they're the 3rd seed coming in from the DACH region. They're not really that much pressure on them. There's already 2 seeds in with Mouse and Big. You've got yourselves some guys there in the quarterfinals, but this is kind of the thing of like, if they win this game, which again they handily won the reverse side of this fixture, if they are able to come out with the win here, it just sets them up so nicely for the rest of the day. They just basically at that point have their destiny in their own hands. They just need to beat out Real Betis and beat in this after they win this game. It doesn't matter if they win or lose against Carmen Corp. Then they know that they're automatically going through because they'll have a nice scoreline of 3-3 and nobody can catch them.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that's kind of the story for both these teams, right? This is such an important match for both sides. BTXL, who've definitely been on a slump, I will say, this is when you need to stand up. This is the day that is going to either get you in towards that playoff spot or send you packing alongside Fnatic Rising in play-ins. And for NLC, that's really not a good look, as we highlighted at the start of this game.
If you're an NLC fan, you are definitely looking at this one with a couple more discerning eyes, making sure that you're trying to do as best you can. As we can see, the trading there into the mid lane becoming to be pretty easy for the Twisted Fate once he hits that level 2, level 3 mark to be able to push that one in. Of course, Akali with the changes onto her energy, very difficult for her to be able to wave clear as efficiently as she used to be able to. Definitely more of a assassin than just a kind of a general all-round pick, as we see him going to the Shroud, and that's pretty much how this whole matchup's going to go. It's going to be gold card lock, Shroud used, and whichever one gets used first, probably you're going to win the trade.
Yeah, but the bigger thing for me is wondering how Nuclearint uses this push, because we just talked about the potential dive coming through from Markoon on this bottom side. I want to see Schalke 04 respond, because already, thanks to that word placed by Yoppa, that there is some fishy business going on this bottom side. The push is already there, but it looks like actually Markoon may not even be in a position to follow up on the push here from Deadly and Advienne.
Yeah, they've already got themselves set up into a position where, it would be a pretty risky dive if they wanted to go for it. Tahm Kench known for defending against dives, not so much, going for them.
Well, he's really good. He's really good if you're going for dives because of that thick skin, right? You tank up the turret as the Tahm Kench. It looks like actually they may try and go for it. You tank up the turret as the Tahm Kench, you then pop that grey health, and you're just able to keep yourself totally fine. And you can tank for so damn long, but it looks like at least not for the moment they'll be looking for the dive. This was something they did literally in their very last game with this exact combo of the Hecarim and the Tahm Kench.
Well, trade of scuttles from the bot side to the top, as we can see both junglers getting themselves up into a full clear of camps, and actually a little bit of a movement here into the top side. You can see the wards just kind of going down. Nuclearint getting a little bit of damage on top of his head, but it's going to be pretty easy for him to be able to back away from that now, knowing the Shroud is down. You have to be a lot more respectful, but Obsess hasn't reset just a little bit earlier there than Markoon, and is able to push himself a little bit closer towards this top side, gets himself the Gromp, and now with the rotation here from Yoppa, they're able to force Markoon out of his jungle, and he's going to struggle really hard to try and re-attain control of this side of the map.
Yeah, especially as Nuclearint has push, Yoppa's got full push as well. Obsess is free to just start these up, and there's not really much that he can do. And this is where I was talking about is BTXL. You can play down towards this bottom side, but top lane certainly in favour of Schalke.
Here we go. We're going to see Hatrixx actually using the blast cone to go over the wall, and Obsess gets himself out. So could have been a moment there for BTXL to maybe capitalize on an overextended jungler, but Hatrixx just finds himself a little bit too far forward, or too far behind the wall. And now we'll see a little bit of engage here. Deadly gets jumped on here, ignited. 1Q will do it. No, he gets him! Oh, predicted him with the flash, and that is Deadly going down. Beautiful stuff here from the bot lane.
And that's a disaster as well for Markoon, because not only has that kill gone across over towards Kynetic, it means you can't actually look to try and push in on this bottom side, invade, get back some of those camps, punish the fact that Obsess have gone low. So Deadly now losing that massive minion wave to tower, giving the goat across to Schalke No Fear. And this is exactly the opposite of what you wanted to happen as a BTXL fan. Great engage from Tolerant, by the way, as well. Like, as Deadly, he was trying to play underneath his turret, trying to make sure that he didn't take that step too far. But the second he does, Tolerant turns, and Kynetic's there to follow up.
What a prediction as well from Kynetic. Just beautifully set up. Realizes he goes, right, I'm either going to get his flash, which is obviously still a win, but just knowing the kind of distance and where he would kind of go, just absolute chef's kiss
and this
coming
is
into that bot side.
Kynetic's a rookie. Like, this guy and Nuclearint have only just come up from the lower division over in the DOC region. This is their first time playing at the pro division, and they are looking so damn good. The fact that he's able to pull these games, or these plays off, in games that matter this much is insane.
Well, speaking about pulling plays off, Yoppa will be targeted and killed by the Hecarim as the pony picks himself up his first kills. So good trade back here for BTXL to get themselves across map play, get themselves back onto the map of trying to get something going for them.
I like the way that Schalke No Fear responding to this, though. Getting this early dragon means that, look, you're not allowing BTXL to start to get the ball rolling around these neutral objectives. Because the worst thing for Schalke No Fear is forced to play around these dragons, around something like the Baron, because you don't want to go for these full 5v5s. If you have the time to play on the opposite side of the map, use the fact you've got these double semi-global ultimates, that's how you close out this game as Schalke No Fear. So getting these early dragons just means that BTXL have got a 5-minute more time to wait until they can actually pressure Schalke No Fear into making these tough decisions around neutral objectives.
Well, first dragon gone down as you there, and it sets up a little bit of a timer as we can see it engage into this bot side. Tolerant not quite able to get the full purchase that he probably wanted, but you have to be so careful right now, because one misstep, you don't have flash here for Deadly, and once that Devour has been used, you are just a sitting duck here, and you can see the long range piercing arrows just running through of this Ashe ADC, and Markoon, he's going to be called down towards this bot side to try and help out and maybe deal something with it. There is still a flash and a cleanse. TP going to be used as well. There is going to be a full disengage. They use the onslaught of shadows. They're not quite able to get it, but Connect is pretty much dead to rights. They're going to gift that one over to Hatrixx. The full chain of corruption, not able to get anything else there, and that's just a good capitalization. But you're losing a kill, but you're gaining a Rift Herald. This is honestly just so smart from Schalke.
Yeah, it's a lot invested coming through from BTXL to get the one kill, and yes, it's nice that it went to Hatrixx. Getting this Akali snowballing is going to be wonderful, but it's not really fixing that bottom lane. You didn't get the assist coming in from Deadly. Yes, he'll get to push in this way, but Kynetic will already be in a position to try and counteract that, and you are losing the Rift Herald on top side. And as a team that wants to try and play through side lanes and play through map pressure, I'm always a fan of getting that early Rift Herald to start taking down these early towers and opening up more avenues to create pressure on the map for Schalke.
Again, more and more kind of, set up more and more places for them to go, and the Rift Herald, like you said, will just open up that map a little bit more, and it's up to BTXL to make sure that that doesn't happen. You still have a level advantage here in this bot side in favor of Kynetic over Deadly. Deadly still waiting for that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and should have it pretty damn soon, but again, needs to be very aware that Chain of Corruption will be coming up very soon.
Look at the mini-map, look at everyone converging. They see blood in Deadly.
They know that he hasn't got flash just yet. They know that they can maybe capitalize on this, but that means you have to respect it, and it's the correct call from BTXL to try and get themselves and get their bot lane away, but there's not really much they could do about it. There's no objective. There's nowhere they could really kind of counteract, and they're just going to have to give up, you know, experience, plates, and honestly, just a little bit more as well. And there's nothing's been expended by Schalke.
Yeah, I mean, you probably will end up having to burn the TP here as Yoppa, because you can see Orome is going to shove in top, but they're going here.
Oh. Nope, they don't need to burn the TP just yet as they're going with the Paranoia and the Destiny Gate. They're going to try and just burn down this one. You can see Markoon already says, I'm sorry guys, there is nothing I can do. They get themselves 2 kills. This double global ultimate pressure that you talked about in Champ Select working fantastically for Schalke Evolution.
And this is why I was saying you've got to get the ball rolling as BTXL around this bot side. If you don't go for that early dive and you don't get the early play rolling, now you've hit level 6, you're bang on even, and Nuclearint and Yoppa will just play the map better. And we've already seen it. You just dive boss. Cool, I've got a TP as Yoppa to get back top side, and now there's nothing that we can do here as BTXL, especially in this long extended lane. You just swap Kynetic towards top side, he's able to go and push on more towers, get more plates, and there's very little that BTXL can actually respond with here.
Very, very little. And let's just have a look at it again. As we can see, they're just dogpiling onto this bot side, and without flash, like, what are you supposed to do here?
And I mean, look, I can't even blame Advienne or, well, I think they took a step too far forward, the BTXL bot lane, but the problem, the problem more so is that, like, it's a lose-lose as Advienne here. You end up eating up Deadly, right? But then you're already got Yoppa who's CC in the Ashe. Nuclearint's coming in and going, right, if you eat this Ashe, I'm just stunning you instead, and you're going to get the double kill. So there's nothing that you can do in that situation, and it's why it's so difficult to play against this composition. Now Schalke no fear for control, but need to be careful.
Oh, the Enchanted Crystal and Arrow does not hit, but neither does the Chain of Corruption. Onslaught of Shadow straight down onto Kynetic, who has got his flash, and he will fall down. They get 2 kills nice and quickly. Good response here from BTXL. They're starting to open up the map, and with 30 seconds still dragging, they may be able to stop that count.
Well, we just talked about the bot lane from BTXL overextending. That's kind of the Schalke no fear bot lane overextending. Like, you're going in to get vision. You don't have either your Twisted Fate or the Udyr here. So this is essentially a 2-man unit going in blind to the BTXL jungle with several people missing in the map. That was never going to turn out well. So Schalke no fear kind of biting off a bit more than they can chew. So now they need to reset. They give a bit more gold over to BTXL and crucially map pressure as well. So you can get these waves back in check. You can start to get Deadly into the position where he can actually try and have an impact versus where he is now, which is, you know, half a level behind his opponent and also down in CS.
Well, the Dragon is going to be taken here by the side of Schalke Evolution, and they get themselves the second one of the game. There's going to be an Ocean Rift, so it'll be an Ocean Soul. Yoppa back up towards this top side. It's about a level behind, or maybe half a level behind as such, as he realizes he cannot really fight this Urgot right now. His job in these fights is not to take down this Urgot solo, it is to find the back line. And speaking of finding the back line, it is going to be Markoon just trying to jump in on top of him. They will get the flash out of the twist, or excuse me, out of the Nocturne. Fear goes down, and they're going to pop it down. Oh, sniped! Orome gets himself the Fear Beyond Death.
Beautiful job from BTXL to make that play, and it's Yoppa not respecting that BTXL can move that pressure from mid towards the top side. Now, Kynetic does answer for the Terra in bot lane, but it is much needed gold going over towards this BTXL line. Now, Obsess, where are you going? This is way overextending.
Well, he's overextending because I don't think he realized where everybody was. And you can see there Advienne and the Hecarim Markoon just trying to run around, try and catch him out, see if they can get him exactly where he needs to be. They haven't got a Orome roaming down just yet. And honestly, I feel like Obsess might be able to get out of this one here. And that feels like a big let-off considering they had the setup to try and catch him out. And I feel like Orome, he just wanted the plates. He just wants the gold right now.
Yeah, and I think they were also a bit worried about Yoppa coming from base with that paranoia as well. They don't want to give him the opportunity to jump on towards like key members like Deadly, who was separated, but now we get that Destiny play.
Here we go. They're going to try and maybe go for something up on this top side. It's going to be a dogpile onto Orome. We did a bot. We're going to do it top. And that's going to be a kill over to Yoppa. The Nocturne gets his revenge as he gets himself down into that top side. And it's a 3,000, actually 2,000 gold lead in favor of Schalke Evolution as they start to look to try and, you know, roam around this map, open up this map a little bit further.
Yeah, and especially when you've got Rift Herald now coming up in just under a minute, that's where you can again look to try and create pressure. Yoppa can stay up in this top side. You're going to have the Destiny coming up for Nuclearint in just a moment as well, so they have options to play around the map. Now, Hatrixx is playing through this side lane quite well, where at least he's getting pressure, he's causing Schalke no Fear to lose out on CS, and maybe this Akali can get big enough where
nice.
Yoppa and Nuclearint aren't able to play 1v1 in the side lane, but when they're able to double up as a 2v2, it still becomes pretty hard as Hatrixx or Orome to deal with that.
Yeah, we did see a pretty clean cleanse there from Kynetic. The clean cleanse from Kynetic as they go up the Enchanted Crystalline Arrow, but it's still a win here for BTXL. They have pressure towards that top side. They are starting to take down Shelly 2.0. Do they look for the fight now after this?
Destiny
Tolerant is there, Obsess is there. Destiny is around as well, so they're going to go straight in on top of this. TB on the backside, though, as the Onslaught of Shadows just keep everyone away. The Exhaust is down as well on top of Nuclearint. Now Obsess of Deadly, and he gets sniped down, shot through the heart, and he goes straight off onto the backside of this fight. The Akali takes down the Twisted Fate. A triple kill out of nowhere here for Hatrixx. This Akali is well and truly online, and a fight that Schalke felt they were at peace to take goes completely wrong. 4 kills, BTXL.
That was the perfect surround for BTXL. And now, we literally just said, if Hatrixx gets fed and he's able to play out these side lanes, he can stop Schalke no Fear's composition. And suddenly, he gets a triple kill in this fight. He has 5 kills to his name, and this was a massive mistake from Schalke. They think, okay, the Destiny is coming up, but that ward, where you get Orome TPing in behind, just corrals everyone from Schalke no Fear perfectly for BTXL. And in these straight up 5v5s, where you haven't had this quick pick coming through for Schalke no Fear, BTXL will win. They have just so much damage, they have so much CC, they have so much to offer in these full on 5v5s, and Schalke no Fear just cannot fight back.
And again, out of nowhere, and I feel like, again, a little bit of communication, mixed execution there. You saw Nuclearint throwing the gold card onto the Onslaught of Shadows, you know, Hecarim, where Deadly's just free-firing for a bit, getting people nice and low. And yes, Deadly is very, very far behind right now, but he's still a relevant threat. He's still someone that you should be prioritizing to take away as his, you know, constant DPS. And these are the small little things, the small little mistakes that can cost your team if you are not careful to try and just, you know, dissuade from them. But Rift Herald down to mid lane, bot lane being pushed in by Hatrixx here, top lane being pushed in here by Nuclearint. So it is a bit of a trade, and 25 seconds until this dragon. You can see BTXL, they are surrounding around this dragon. They want to try and stop that third Drake going over the side of Schalke, but I don't think you really care that much if you're Schalke. As I say that, though, they do get the nice little snipe on the backside and catch him with the Tokyo Drift, Onslaught of Shadows, the tower, the kill, the fear beyond death, and it's a double for Urgot. BTXL firmly online and in charge.
Yeah, and you needed to abandon ship as Schalke no Fear. You don't defend that mid lane turret. You allow Nuclearint to trade it for this bot lane turret. Now, though, BTXL, they'll get the kills, they'll get the mid lane tower. You can even see there Nuclearint using that Destiny to make sure you could get the hell away from that play, with Dragon going to BTXL as well. This is really strong play from BTXL to try and fight back.
Yeah, Tolerant, you need to leave. That's what your job right now is, to leave. You do not need to be here. That dragon is not yours to take. And now, out of nowhere, BTXL, they've kind of dragged themselves back. They're now ahead by a couple of 100 gold. And yes, it's nothing too incredible, but 208 on Markoon on this Hecarim. 501. Look at the gold. Thank you so much. You can see they're starting to eke ahead, especially in that top and mid lane.
This is not a game, though, that relies on gold. Yes, the gold is nice, but this is a game that revolves around tempo. This is how well can Schalke no Fear control the map. How can they set up their waves so that then Yoppa and Nuclearint can disappear into Fog of War and catch people out. Now that BTXL have fought back, they have control, it becomes way more difficult for Schalke no Fear to make these picks happen. Now you can see them in mid lane trying to see if they can muster up something so they can wrestle control back of the map, but it's not BTXL giving them that opportunity.
And again, you know, the Ashe on Deadly, yes, he's 0-3 and 3, but he doesn't need to be the big DPS. He just needs to be able to hit those Enchanted Crystal Arrows. He just needs to be the setup, because if you don't have a cleanse here for, you know, Kynetic, if you don't have some kind of escape here for pretty much anybody, if I'm being totally honest, you know, on the side of Schalke evolution will die. There is a bridge here between the between the Urgot and the Akali that you will just get 100-0 straight away because of that CC.
Yeah, and that's the thing now. You see the way this map is working, right? BTXL, they got control. Cool, push a side lane. Now we can group as this unit and make it so difficult for Schalke No Fear to actually get pressure on these objectives. Push out on the map. You're not able to push past River right now as Schalke No Fear because BTXL control it. And as you said, Penguin, when you've got so much burst that can come through from Markoon, hell, I mean, even Hatrixx could basically one-shot anyone in Schalke No Fear right now. There's no way that you can actually try and fight against BTXL and what they're doing right now.
With these outer turrets all falling down here for the side of BTXL, they've got themselves open up a little bit of extra room, a little bit of extra movement, and this is kind of like, honestly, like, you know, if you're an Akali, you want either an Ocean or you want a Infernal. One gives you more opportunities to come in from a flank, the other one gives you plenty of bushes to hide in and to try and just sneak attack someone on the backside. So this is all you kind of want here for Hatrixx as he finds himself on top of someone. He almost gets deleted, but there also shadows on the backside of this as Markoon finds him. They are going to have to go Zhonya's. They're going to try and see if they can burn down this Akali, but go straight back out. Flashes away. Obsess is not letting you out of this one that easily. They will trade. The shutdown goes over to the Udyr. Now the real fight can ensue. 4v4. Deadly is untouched. Deadly, this is your time to shine. He's going to be able to chase him down. It's Orome and Deadly just chasing everyone from Schalke away. Ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of BTXL. And they're feeling like they're the ones in charge.
That got a little bit dicey for BTXL though. Markoon and Hatrixx definitely jumping the gun to try and get on towards Schalke. Luckily for them though, the person they got was Kynetic. That's the main source of damage. Yoppa is not going to have enough to carry these fights, and when Kynetic goes down, you can see, look, Schalke are able to muster up some sort of offense and they can get a kill back, but the damage is so negligible. You've got Obsess and Yoppa trying to flash after these kills, and when BTXL arrive, where you've got Orome who can deal damage, Deadly who's able to deal damage, and you've got so much protection that's been able to be offered thanks to Advienne as well, they can chase down Schalke and turn back some of those kills. Now Kynetic, he's in trouble again!
Kynetic, you can't be doing that, my friend. You can't be walking up without the support of your team. And everybody's here. 2 TPs. Where are you going to go, my son? And he is dead again. Now with Baron on the table, you got to try and defend this now. If you're a Schalke, you can't let this one go over.
Yeah, Kynetic's taking a step way too far, and now, again, your damage source is gone as Schalke. You actually cannot contest this. BTXL will smack you back, which is why we're seeing Schalke go, right, we've got to give this up. We're going to try and get towers, and maybe in 5 minutes time, when the Baron's gone and we can maybe muster back some of this map, then we can try and fight for against BTXL. But right now, this game is looking firmly in BTXL's favor.
I did hold my breath just a little bit as the Rakan threw over the feather. I was like, please, Markoon, don't do this. Don't let it go to like 2 HP or something and he gets it with a little slap of a feather. But like you said, the Baron now goes over to the side of BTXL. They're the ones that are going to have that split push pressure, and they're the ones that are now firmly in the driver's seat as they come back out onto the map. It's still only 1,000 gold here for BTXL. They are not running away from it. As you said, it's not really going to be relevant to them in terms of a gold lead, but they've got themselves 2.5 items onto the Akali. Importantly, they also have the Zhonya's as well, so she's able to go in, get out, no questions asked. And again, Kynetic, walk away, Kynetic, group up with your team and don't be by yourself. God damn it.
Yeah, he's constantly pushing up that little bit too far. You can see BTXL are like sniffing their nose in, going, hey, look, maybe we can find something here, but Kynetic does manage to escape. But honestly, this is what I wanted to see from BTXL. Like, when we came into today, I was like, look, NLC, they haven't been looking good. UKLC started off, they looked like they were riding high in EU Masters, but that slow decline was there. And now when the NLC is posting all their hopes on BTXL, it's picks like this that they need.
They're going to go for the onslaught shadows. They try and just continue this fight. This one's all right though, because you can see Kynetic, as you mentioned, he is the damage sword. He is the guy who's going to be able to do it. And look who's not here. Hatrixx is not there to assassinate anybody. There's the onslaught of shadows. They try and go back on top of this, but they just don't have it. Now Hatrixx is here, and now Hatrixx can get the double, the triple. He's continuing on. You know he wants that quadra, but he's just a little bit too far forward. He can't go underneath that tower, and that fight looked so good until Hatrixx arrived, and then it turned all the way around.
4 versus 5, that's cool for Schalke. 5v5 with Hatrixx, that ain't gonna look as pretty. This Akali is huge. I mean, Schalke no longer able to find these picks. BTXL can take these fights. This turret is going to drop, and BTXL are going to back away with a big L grin on their face.
And they get themselves the inhibitor turret. Don't quite crack the inhibitor. And you can see here, Kynetic, he immediately cleanses, tries to throw it back. And this is 4v5. This is how shows you how confident BTXL are.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to be that confident, though. I mean, the fact that Hatrixx is able to get here that quickly is kind of a godsend, but overall, Schalke no fear. They play this fight right. They try to get on towards Deadly. Deadly forced to use the cleanse and the flash, but the second Hatrixx shows up, it's done. Like, you are running for the hills. You do not have the same protection, and this Akali is tearing through people right now.
Now, Hatrixx needs to step up, or needed to step up for this game, and very much has. 8-1-3, Void Staff finish off for him now, as we start to move into those kind of, 25 to 30-minute team fights, where these gold leads, like you mentioned before, don't really matter, but it's all execution. And if you got a perfect execution to blow up an immobile AD carry like a Varus, you're going to be pretty damn happy. As Obsess, you're a little bit too far forward here, buddy. They're going to expend the Onslaught of Shadows on top of you pretty damn easily. He tries to flash away, and now again 4v5. Hatrixx isn't here, but you can see him in the mid lane on the minimap. He's trying to get himself back into this fight. He's trying to see if he can go in and get on top of anybody. He flashes forward, he goes in, there's the 5-point strike as he jumps straight back onto the back line. There's one, there's two, it's another multi-kill for the side of BTXL. Hatrixx is the man who is carrying the NLC on his back, and BT, they might go for the end.
But we said this at the start of the day. Hatrixx is so good in this Akali. It may not have been shown before, but this is what this man is capable of. And in that fight, Nuclearint was backing. That was a 4v5 for BTXL.
Oh no, Schalke, you had such a good start, but you weren't able to make it stick, and now your next turrets are being taken down. You don't have the damage. Your Varus is still dead for a couple of seconds. It's going to be a little bit of last chance here. These health bars are relatively low, and BTXL have to back away. They respect the fact that they can get taken down here and lose all this hard work.
Destiny has just gone under, so you're not going to be able to have Nuclearint try and TP in on top of this, but you still have actually Cell Summoner spells available if they want to try and cut off members of BTXL.
Markoon jumping back in on Obsess. He doesn't have his flash after the last engagement. There's the Onslaught of Shadows, not quite up yet, but Hatrixx on the back end is still able to do it, but Hatrixx is dead now. There's the Onslaught of Shadows right in on top of Kynetic, who has to go golden. Now your damage is gone. It's a 2-for-1 trade. You can see Yoppa trying to go in. Orome gets himself a double. When one solo laner goes down, the other one steps up, and that should be it. BTXL putting one step firmly forward as they go 2-2 in Group D and get themselves that all-important tied up head-to-head Schalke Evolution.
That game was so important for BTXL, and the manner in which they performed was absolutely incredible as well. Being able to play out against the composition like Schalke no fear had is incredibly difficult because they're so good at being able to catch people out. But time and again we saw that Hatrixx was picking up these kills. They were punishing the overextensions from Schalke no fear, and when you're able to get this massive Akali, it shuts down that side lane pressure and you can go towards these team fights so damn easily.
Yeah, honestly, it just felt so good to finally see what this team can do. Like we said, you've got names like Orome, Deadly, Hatrixx. Like, these guys should be stepping up a lot better. And now for BTXL, your fate is in your own hands. You can just, all you have to do right now is beat, Real Betis, and you've got yourself almost guaranteed to go up into that top 8. You almost save your entire region from embarrassment by getting yourself into that top 8. And honestly, if they can perform like this the rest of the day, they will be looking absolutely fantastic, and we'll have to wait and see what they're able to do. We are going to throw it to a break, and when we return, we will have game 3 of the day, so do not go anywhere.